My name is Thana Pumosgun. We are from Section 3, and today we are going to present you about the proposal of our special project, which the project name is Saliva MDA in patient with hyperthyroidism. So our project advisors are Assistant Professor Dr. Jurat Komsin and Assistant Professor Dr. Supatra Pora Supatana. So now let's get started.
So we will start with the outline. First, we will talk about the rationale of the study and literature review, and then we will end our presentation with the data collection form. First, I would like to start with the association between hyperthyroidism and oxidative stress. According to the previous study, they found that hyperthyroid condition can increase oxidative stress because it stimulates basal metabolism and energy or ATP production via cellular respiration. And this picture explains the main pathway of free radical generation and site of thyroid hormone action in mitochondrial respiratory chain. As you can see that thyroid hormone can affect the level of electron carrier or NADH. Therefore, high concentration of thyroid hormone can increase the level of electron carrier, thus enhance the diversion of electron from the chain. Lone pair electron can react with molecular oxygen and create free radical or superoxide radical, which can finally cause the oxidative damage to cellular structure and molecules such as lipid or protein.
And this slide shows you one of the most serious cardiovascular complications, which is heart failure in hyperthyroidism. So from the review article of Mohammed T in the year of 2015, it showed the prevalence of heart failure occur about 6 to 15% in patients with hyperthyroidism. So the pathological mechanism behind heart failure also involved with oxidative stress. So as my friend mentioned in the previous slide, that thyroid hormone can provoke the stimulation of free radical production in through the mitochondrial respiration. So every human cell has mitochondria, right? So including the cardiac cells. So these are the examples of free radicals like superoxide radical, nitric oxide radicals, and peroxynitride. So all of these radicals are highly reactive. So it can cause rapid peroxidation, protein oxidation, and it can result in cell apoptosis and tissue necrosis. So especially at left ventricle, we have lots of mitochondria because it used to supply blood to the organs. So it can cause the decrease of cardiac contractions. And finally, patients with hyperthyroidism may end up with cardiac hypertrophy and heart failure.
And as mentioned above, that the important mediator behind the pathophysiology of hyperthyroidism and subsequent tissue injury is lipid peroxidation or free radical mediated lipid peroxidation. It is a chain reaction consists of 3 steps. The first step is the reaction between free radical and fatty acid, which is the main component of the cell membrane. However, this reaction can be terminated by the action of antioxidants, including vitamin E and vitamin C. But the excess production of free radical can disturb the balance between oxidant and antioxidant system, finally result in apoptosis of cell. Malondialdehyde, which is the end product of lipid peroxidation, is one of the important biomarkers that can be used to represent the condition of oxidative stress that occur in our body.
So as you know that MDA is the final product of the oxidative stress. So we review from the studies in India in the year of 2015. They study about the relationship between the amount of serum MDA in patients with hyperthyroidism by comparing the serum MDA in the group of 40 control group and 27 hyperthyroid patients. So as you can see, the serum MDA level in hyperthyroid patients is significantly higher more than 2 times than the control group. And the table below studies in Egypt about the correlation between the serum MDA level and serum level of thyroid, including free T3 and free T4, and also the thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH. In hyperthyroid group, the correlation coefficient for free T3 and free T4 is significantly positive correlated, which means that if MDA level in serum is increased, the free thyroid hormone also increase. But vice versa, in thyroid stimulating hormone, it show the negative correlation, which means that if the MDA level is increased, then the THS is decreased. So this can be used as the diagnostic parameter for the patient with hyperthyroidism, because of the negative feedback of the high amount of thyroid hormone can replace the THS production. And here is the show of the serum comparing to saliva, as the most of the study mainly focus on the serum sample, whereas the saliva sample, there is no any study that study in saliva sample of hyperthyroid patient. So saliva sample is one of the most common diagnostic sample for several disease, and the advantage of it is also non-invasive to the patient. It is more convenient because the patient do not need to go to the hospital for blood sampling, and also it's inexpensive method. So that's why we are very interested in Saliva MDA. We want to know that whether it can be used as the alternative non-invasive method for measuring the MDA level or not. So we review from the study of Fogarasi in 2016 about the correlation between saliva and serum MDA level in healthy subjects. So we found that the R value is moderately correlated between MDA in saliva and MDA in serum.
And for the research hypothesis, the assumption is that the level of saliva MDA in hyperthyroid patient correlates with the level of serum thyroid hormones and serum thyroid stimulating hormone. For objectives of the study, primary objective is to find the correlation between the level of saliva MDA and the level of serum thyroid hormones and thyroid stimulating hormone in hyperthyroid patient. And for secondary objective is to find the relationship between the level of saliva MDA and cardiovascular complication in patient with hyperthyroidism. For potential benefits of the study, this study may provide additional information to help predict severity of hyperthyroidism and complication through the non-invasive and inexpensive laboratory testing, which is the measurement of saliva MDA. And this is the part of research methodology. First, for the study design, this study is a prospective study in hyperthyroid patients compared with healthy volunteers. And the reason why we need healthy volunteers because of the within and between laboratory variability in the measurement of MDA, and because the reference level of MDA is not specified. So we will use healthy volunteers as a control. For study endpoint, the primary endpoint are the concentration of saliva MDA and the level of thyroid hormone and thyroid stimulating hormone. For secondary endpoint is the cardiovascular complication in hyperthyroid patient.
So now we come to the a little bit complicated part, which is the sample size calculation. So we need to use the correlation coefficient from the previous study to use it for calculation in our formulation. So from the previous study, the R value of the hyperthyroid patient is ranged from 0.436 to 0.530. So to get the higher amount of sample size, so now from the formula, if the R value is low, then we can get the higher sample size, and also the power of study is also high also. And this is the equations of the sample size calculations. After we get the R value, we substitute it into the equations, and then we get the sample size equal to 52. And we also concerned in case that of the sample collection that we cannot get reach the required amount of sample size, so we added 10% more to 52, and finally we get the final sample size which is equal to 58.
And for the study population for our sample group, we used 58 hyperthyroid patients and 58 healthy volunteers who live in Khon Kaen, and patients are under the service of Srinagarin Hospital. For inclusion criteria, first, patients who were diagnosed as hyperthyroidism through the listed level of serum thyroid stimulating hormone and thyroid hormone within 3 months. For healthy volunteer, we use healthy volunteer which age between 18 to 35 years without any condition or symptoms of illness. For exclusion criteria, first, patient who smoked within 1 year prior to the sample collection. Second, patient who was diagnosed as oral cancer. Third, patient who has an oral infection within 1 month prior to the sample collection. And for stat limit of the study, healthy volunteers have no medical checkup, include physical examination and laboratory examination. We use only health screening and data collection form to collect the data. Therefore, a health condition might not be fully assessed.
And the timeline of our study, so we begin with the project selection, and now we are in the process of the proposal presentation. After that, we will do the document to ask for the permission from the ethics committees. And after we get the permissions, we will do the sample size collections. And after we get the samples, we will do the analysis, and then we will present the result. And here is the method of collection and preparation of the saliva sample. We use spitting method as the method for collection the saliva, and we will store it at -20 degrees Celsius for further analysis. And the principle behind the determination of MDA in saliva is T-bar assay, which is the most widely used assay for determining the lipid peroxidation. So MDA can react with TBA to form the chromophore complex, which can measure at the lambda max of 532 nanometers. By using the spectrophotometer, and then we will compare the absorbance with the standard MDA curve to find the concentration of MDA in the sample.
For statistical and data analysis, we will use the SPSS software version 19, and we will use Spearman rule correlation in case that our data is non-normal distribution, and we will use Pearson correlation in case that our data is a normal distribution. For variable used in the study, dependent variable is the concentration of saliva MDA, and independent variable are gender, age, pulse rate, blood pressure, dose of hyperthyroid medications such as propylthiouracil or propranolol. And here comes to the last part of our presentation, which is the patient data collection form. Briefly, we will collect the demographic data, including patient gender and age, and then we will assess the medical record for more specific data, including pulse rate, blood pressure, and the level of thyroid hormones and thyroid stimulating hormone, current medications within the day of saliva sample collection, and abnormal parameters regarding to the cardiovascular function. Moreover, we will collect the clinical presentation data that related to hyperthyroid condition, such as palpitation and tremor.
And here is the health screening form and the data collection form for the healthy volunteer. So we will screen the health of our healthy subject through the health screening question. For example, like do you have enough sleep and do you have any stress at this moment? And also we will collect the data. For example, like the smoking behavior, the oral and dental health, and also we will collect their current medication and their current food supplement to see whether it correlated to the amount of serum MDA in saliva. So this is the end of our presentation, and are there any questions?
So, what is the hypothesis?
The research hypothesis, right? So the research hypothesis, we think that the amount of thyroid hormone in hyperthyroid patient will correlate with the serum level, not serum, the saliva level of MDA.
So you have to collect the level of thyroid hormones from patient
From medical record.
medical record. And then you're gonna ask the patient to give you saliva the same day,
Yeah.
right? So
Collect
that
the
patient
saliva.
have to monitor the thyroid on that day. You collect the saliva. Am I correct?
We will look at the medical record for the thyroid function test for the largest that within 3 months. Yes, because usually the physician will make an appointment for the patient to go for their thyroid function checkup every 3 months.
So I'm not sure that we can correlate the MDA level today with the past 3 months of thyroid hormone or not. Because of the sample size of the study is not that big, only 58 patients, and I think that maybe like 20, 30 patients per day at Singapore Hospital that the patients are monitored for thyroid hormone. I'm not sure.
After this, we will meet the medical doctor. Yeah.
I'm still quite unsure about your objective of the study. So you said that you would like to find the correlation between the serum level and saliva level.
So how we gonna get the level for the healthy volunteer?
Right. Why would you need a healthy volunteer saliva test?
We use the healthy volunteer as a control because within laboratory and between laboratory variability in the method of MDA measurement, and because the value of MDA, like the normal value or the reference value of MDA is not specified, so we need to use healthy volunteer as a control to compare between the level of saliva MDA in the patient and in normal people.
That's why I think that if it is like this, the hypothesis is supposed to be that MDA level of those who got the hyperthyroid is supposed
Yeah.
to be greater than the healthy volunteer.
Thank you.
อันนี้ดูโอ้ใช่ไหม
From our researcher review,
Because we're not sure that what are you doing.
yeah, because the amount of serum MDA of the hypothyroid patient is significantly higher than the control. But we will do in saliva sample of MDA.
I know.
Yeah.
But is that your objective to compare saliva level of hypothyroid patient and the control group? Is that right?
Our objective is to find the correlation between saliva MDA, which can represent the condition of oxidative stress, and serum thyroid hormone level. Yeah.
มันก็มีว่ามันเป็นค่าปกติ
And then,
จะมี healthy volunteer
so MDA, is that MDA specific to to hyperthyroid only?
No, because the MDA can affect by many several factors, right? So we exclude the patient by they do not smoke and they should not have the oral infection or oral cancer.
And other comorbidity like DM or not.
But oxidative stress come from anywhere in the environment, right? For example, you don't exclude people who take in vitamin C or vitamin E, and these supplements also affect the free radical in the body too. So how would you go around and get rid of the cofactor that may affect your outcome?
In the patient. So we also collect the data that in the data collecting from about the current medication and also the food supplements. Yeah.
Yes, I know, but why don't you develop the more restrictive inclusion criteria to manage the cofactor or confounder as Ajahn mentioned. Like to me, I will not include those who got the DM because I remember last year Ajahn Junaid
About the
maybe doing the same thing but with the DM patient.
So maybe we will develop our exclusion and inclusion criteria.
And also about the age of the control group. You said that the control group, you specify the age from 18 to 35. But for thyroid group, it can be any age, right?
Yes.
So is that age may affect also MDA level in the body?
Like because we want to find the healthy volunteer that is in the in the age of they have most healthy, yeah, like we just want to use the Saliva MDA of the healthy volunteer as a control. So we just want to find the reference level of MDA to compare with the level of MDA in the patient.
So one more question. So what do you mean by healthy volunteer? Is it gonna end up to be your friends?
Yeah, like that. Some our friends or our junior.
Okay. And then you're gonna collect the saliva at the same time,
Yeah.
but in the clinic.
We might separate the day. Like we will.
But at the clinic, you're gonna collect the saliva one by one, I think, and then
Yeah.
you gonna put it somewhere. But for your friend, you collect it at the same time. So I'm not sure that for the patients and for the control, the healthy volunteer, you're gonna have this what would be collection, specimen collection method the same way.
Yeah, we have the method of collection of the specimen in similar way. Like we will collect the saliva sample first, and then we have the method for preparation of saliva sample. By we will centrifuge the saliva sample and then collect the supernatant solution.
Time for collection to centrifuge. For patient, I think it's gonna be like 2 hours. But at school, it might be like 30 minutes. I'm not sure. I mean the time.
They will say it, keep the saliva in the fridge, right?
Yeah.
In the freezer, right?
Or all of them you will keep in the freezer first.
Yeah.
Okay, and how much of the granule, the rings that you would like to use?
For goggles,
because different amount of gargle wash may affect different concentration of MDA. Because on the next page, you pipette only 250 microliter for your fluorescent assay, right? So that means concentration of MDA may affect the color change in your plate. Right? So if you're not specify about the amount of gargle wash here, it will be a problem.
อาจารย์ฝากไว้นิดนึงอาจารย์จำได้ปีที่แล้วไม่แน่ใจว่าปีที่แล้วเอาปัสสาวะหรือเปล่าเราเองเนาะเอาอะไร
จะมีสองกลุ่มครับอาจารย์ก็จะมี
ใช่ไหมแล้วอาจารย์จำได้ว่าพวกนักเรียนทำให้ไม่ตั้งใจก็เลยรีเซลเสียเหมือนกับอาจารย์จำได้แบบนั้นแบบ
หมายถึง control group เหรอ
แบ
มั
บ
นจะ
อา
มี
จาร
สอง
ย์
กลุ่ม
จำได้
อาจารย์ก็
นะคะ
คือ
ว่าก
ลุ่มหนึ่งคือ study ใน
ได้
healthy
น้ำลายอะไรไปแต่ว่าไม่ได้พูดหรือได้ปัสสาวะไปแต่ไม่ได้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยหนูระวังนิดนึงเพราะอาจารย์มีความรู้สึกเหมือนกับว่านักศึกษาเอามาวางหน้าห้องใครจะช่วยเพื่อนคนที่บอกจะช่วยก็ช่วยไปหนูไม่ได้แบบเตือน